to the Dadvocacy podcast. I am Ryan.
And I'm Tristan, and thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Our first episode of the new year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, we are those guys. Dude, so
some big news out there.
Yeah, like really, really cool stuff. Missouri's Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, it's a mouthful. They're doing some really great things. They're actually getting together today to help the legislative branch create equal parenting laws and get change. Like they're at the Capitol right now. No, it's the 18th. My bad. It's on the 18th. But I mean, like there are actual legislators involved trying to make it right for us as fathers, which is, dude, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I mean, to get that ball rolling. I mean, I know that in Arkansas, it's in motion, in Kentucky and a few other states, but and we talked about with Kenneth Rosa. I mean, about the Shared Parenting Act, and just to have that momentum coming in the first legislative session of the year, to have that showing up in states is amazing. And I know that Ohio just picked up 60 co-sponsors from their house, both sides, both parties on board with this for the Equal Parenting Act bill to be voted on the next 2 months there in Ohio. So yeah, the momentum is gaining for dads.
It's flipping incredible. Like it really is. So what's cool is that there's actually women's groups that are for equal shared parenting that are coming out of the woodwork and saying, no, look, we want the same. We want our exes, our whatever, fathers to be fathers so we can be mothers also.
Well, yeah. And I mean, if you're pro kid, you should be pro parent. And
100%.
Either side, you should be pro mom, you should be pro dad. I mean, really, you want to have the healthiest opportunity for your kids to be raised in an environment that is inclusive to both parents, because that's where kids grow up the best. Like that's scientific fact.
Absolutely,
having both parents in the household, they're like more likely to be successful.
100%.
Yeah,
and that's what we want. It's all about our kids. We've stopped. I think like. It's really weird. Like we know 2022, 2021 sucked ish. I mean, okay, it is what it is. You make your life how you want it to be, no matter what's going on around you, right? But is 2022 and 2023 going to be the years of humility where, as parents, we go, we care about our kids. This is what we want.
I hope so. And I mean, what I see in the movements with the grassroots movements that, ignore what the media says about the parent involvement with school boards and stuff like that. I see
that's good also, though.
That's great. There's a ton of traction that like parents are getting involved. They care about what their kids are learning. They care about what's going on inside the school. Like
I don't care how the media spins it. Yeah. Right. There's parents getting involved now.
Yeah. No. And I mean, how many times, I saw it when I was in the classroom that like, you'd have the helicopter mom here and there, and that's about it. And like, you try to get parent volunteers for anything and you couldn't. You had to like shake them down and bribe people to like show up to help with their kids' stuff. And now it's like, you have 300 people showing up at a school board meeting on a Monday night. So
exactly, yeah.
There's some good stuff. And not all the school board meetings are crazy and people raising fits. There's a lot of people there that just want to know what's going on, with their kids. I know I love the hipster.
Is that enough though?
Is it the beer butter?
Yeah.
I love the consistency of the beer butter.
Do you need more? You've had a lot more beer than me. I'm sorry, guys.
I put some in this morning.
I didn't put any on, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just feel a little dry. I'm not a beard guy, so this is kind of weird for me.
It's been a weird couple weeks weather-wise, and it totally dried my face out. I've been like putting like the hand-to-hand combat stuff on my face.
Did you know like this? Like honestly, it is nice.
There's tattoos not and stuff. I much difference between the beard butter and the hand-to-hand combat. Just a little bit. The hand-to-hand combat's a little bit more firm.
Mm-hmm. The beard butter doesn't have any of the mango oil or anything like that. I was reading.
Yeah, the mango oil is awesome for healing cuts and scrapes. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to digress. We're not doing a commercial right now. No, I just needed it, and it actually
lovely. It smells delightful.
Dude, it's great on my tattoos too. It's freaking. This stuff is bomb. I flipping love this crap.
I know.
I apologize. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, no, I mean, it's it really does. Oops. It really does feel like though that like this is going to be a great year for parents.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at the parent involvement and how much more, access dads. I mean, and dads have been trying for years, but really in the last few years, it's been starting to enter the mainstream, which has been awesome. You've got people in Hollywood that are speaking out for dads, and well-known individuals that are known around notoriety, in media and entertainment and even athletics too, there's guys that are speaking out pro dad, which is amazing. There's a lot
Yeah.
of traction being gained for the fathers' rights movement,
It's really cool. Like, I mean, it's just
or I should say, equal parenting
equal
movement.
equal
Yeah,
rights. Yeah, is what it is. Because we're not trying to make women out to be bad and evil or whatever. We just have a crappy system.
it should have been that way from the get go, and it
Should have been
wasn't.
even all the way.
And and we're all for healthy parents. So I mean, it's not like we're like fighting for all dads. We don't want some deadbeat to have access coming back in to ruin their kid's life. If he's put his stuff together and like, doing the right things and not abusive or taking care of business, like
Mhm.
yeah, let him come back in. I mean, I don't see the harms in that. I mean, necessarily unless there was like a safety issue. Like,
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
have to preface like with everything, I guess. But
Yeah.
um,
But I mean, if
Yeah.
there's none, there's no reason a father shouldn't be involved.
if you didn't
period.
get it,
Now-
there's one thing between not getting along and then being a crappy parent.
Yep.
And that's where I think it gets lost in divorce, where the bitterness seeps in. That's like you turn into like he was a bad husband. That doesn't mean they're a bad dad, or like she was a bad
Absolutely.
wife. Doesn't mean she's a bad mom.
And so here's kind of a piece also that I think that people have forgotten about, and that is that like both parents can be scared. Dude, it's not a simple thing to go, I'm having a kid, automatically you're just this amazing parent, It's learned. So you're gonna have relationships that end where the father, he could be a young cat. Yeah, I mean, he could be
Yep.
in his 20s or young, right? And be like, I don't know what the hell to do, and just be out. And it doesn't mean that 5 years from now he's not gonna be a great parent.
Yeah.
He just has to mature. And the same with women. There are women that they're checking out too. It's just it's horrible.
It's that you'll see women tend to check out when the kids hit about like age 7.
Mhm.
You'll see them start to, and not necessarily distance, but like they'll try to like regain, I guess, not their youth. I mean, that kind of me throwing the wrong words out there, but
They never had a chance to be
Yeah,
young.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
So when the kid's out, they're like partying and getting Chanel bags and
Yeah.
being all crazy and like drinking, and pretty soon they've got an anklet on, and it's not a good anklet.
kind of
and
breathalyzer, breath walk in their
Yeah.
car. No, it's it's
it happens.
I
Out here.
joke around about it, but like, no, I mean, that's the most common time for women to leave is either initially around when they stop breastfeeding,
Mhm.
or it's when they enter the school system in kindergarten, first grade.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's either people, I don't know, there could be a lot behind it too. I know that I'm sure there is a lot behind it mentally, as far as not being needed
Mhm.
in those ways anymore. You've got a lot of postpartum, obviously, with around the breastfeeding time, but
It's interesting to think that like, does the lack of freedom kind of exacerbates postpartum? You know what I mean?
could, yeah.
Because you feel stuck. I mean, if you're a new parent and you've got a toddler or something little, your
Needing
life
you
feels like it's over
all the time,
unless-
and
yeah.
and some some moms love it, like, right, and we know most moms do, like,
Yeah.
they love having their kids.
Dude, can you do something for me?
What?
Can you give me the Dadvocacy mug and fill it full of some water for me real fast? I'm just parched. We care about each other. We really do. Ryan's my guy. Ryan, you want some?
I'm good for right now, thank you.
Okay. Because we could use my army mug if you want. I don't mind.
That's an awkward angle of me.
Yeah, that was weird, but I don't mind. You did good. Thank you, dude.
Felt like a
Cheers.
human backhoe. The old scoop there.
Mhm.
No,
So
I
weird.
I think that you enter an age where, as the child begins to change, it does trigger some changes, and I notice it as a parent too, that like you parent differently as the kids start morphing differently, and you should change a little bit. And
Like when they're young, you're staying consistent no matter what.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how bad you feel. If you're going to swat them in the butt, whatever,
Yeah.
you have to stay consistent no matter what. As they get older and they realize that, hey, you know what? They can follow the rules more. You can be a little more lenient
Mm.
because they've got more wisdom. Wisdom
Sure.
comes with age, right?
Yeah.
Like my boys right now, I mean, they're old. Like I've got in a year, one's going to be 18, less than a year. Wow. Another
really
one's going to be
Can't
2
really
years.
spank 'em anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, you
can't.
probably haven't for years anyways, but
But I can be more lenient and go, you know what? You've earned more of my respect, and
Sure.
I can trust you more. So this is no longer an issue. It's you don't have to worry about it being on the table,
Yeah. And it's where I'm walking in with a 6-year-old tomorrow. It's his birthday, and it's like,
Happy birthday, Owen.
yeah, he's super excited. No kid is more excited to be an age than.
Well, he's getting his golf yard or his golfing tee, right? Or whatever you're doing. Is he getting it?
No, he got a indoor mini golf set for Christmas already. But I got him a bunch of just Lego. Like he's like on a Mario kick right now, which I'm cool with. I love Mario. Like it throws me back to like my childhood.
Cool.
So I got him a ton of like Lego Mario stuff, which I've got to say,
is there a lot?
There is a ton of Lego like, out there, Mario stuff now. I got to say, for what you get, Legos have to be the most expensive toy out there.
You know,
like price per ounce.
Back in the day, you could get like a monster freaking bucket of crap.
Yeah.
And make your dreams come true. And now you're like, get this little set. It looks like a Star Wars creature for like $90. And you're like, what in the hell did I do?
Yeah. No, like it was the key to Skyworld was like one of the things that I ordered. It was like $40.
That's insane, dude.
Dude, like for plastic. I don't know. Like maybe some people are like need to tell me to shut up and quit being like, get off my lawn.
Is it because more plastic is going to Trojan than Lego? Maybe. I'm sorry. Ryan's mom.
Took me off my train of thought there for a second. No, like I always wondered, I'm like, Legos, like everybody's all about these single-use plastics. Find me another use for Legos, right? If everybody wants to be all in on this like single-use plastic kick, and this is soapbox me real quick, because like Washington's passing a law now to where you can't use single-use like forks and knives at restaurants. They're gonna require everybody to carry those recycled ones.
What restaurant uses
to go?
Right? Okay, I guess
to go orders, right? So no to go orders.
Am I gonna get like a freaking cardboard fork?
Yeah.
Like the straws are flipping.
Or the ones that are made from like processed like bamboo or whatever.
I can do bamboo. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Wood products are all right. Yeah. I went to
paper straws are a joke, man.
Went to Carl's Jr. I was like, yes, I was feeling some like it's got to be a hard plastic one. Pulled it out. It was cardboard, and I'm sucking on it, and I'm like, why is my mouth dry?
Because it's like disintegrating as you drink.
Why does my Sprite taste like water with fizzy in it? Like this is gross.
Yeah. So anyways, Lego's still out there cranking out plastic left and right, and nobody has said a word to them. But they went woke with like non-gender specific characters and all that stuff now.
Are Legos vegan?
I don't know.
That's their next step. Animal cruelty free in the box, vegan free. Good to go.
Like zero carbon emission Legos.
I mean, pretty soon it's got to be. I guess melting plastic though. Oh, they could use solar cells or heat refracted on mirrors.
All right, so I'm going to invent a company just since everybody's going to go woke and want to recycle everything. It's going to be like recycled, like Legos.
We should do recycled beard balm. Like in the summer, it drips off and you just catch it.
I'm trying to think like what you would make Legos out of. It wouldn't be like the most. You can't use any other material for Legos per price.
What about
plastic
wood?
Is the cheapest.
Wood, maybe?
Wood Legos.
No, because it'd be hard. You'd have to drill at everything.
Yeah,
there's nothing. Plastic work. It's the only thing.
It's the only thing that would work.
Makes sense. Totally.
But nobody's ripping on Lego to stop making Legos.
No, well, I mean, everybody loves Legos, unless you're a parent.
Find me another use. Who recycles Legos?
I feel like Legos should be the next security system.
Dude, it's like an NFT, right?
You just sprinkle it in front of your doors and windows.
Just throw it like yeah. Kevin McAllister style. Throw them under your doors and windows.
That's Lego's going to do that. Lego security systems. It's going to come with a Roomba, but a beefed up Roomba that can collect the Legos and just sweep them in. That way it goes by all of your windows and doors every morning before you're up and cleans up before you even start.
Just came up with something.
Lego, hit me up. We're working it. This podcast is copyrighted.
Taking intellectual liberties on that one. Yeah.
Totally trying here. Dude, so we talked about Christmas traditions. Any New Year's ones?
I used to do the failed New Year's resolution.
Yeah, never do those. No, not going to happen.
I do broad goals. I do set broad goals for the year. I hate the like very specific ones of like this year I'm going to lose 100 pounds. It's like, okay, then cut off your 2 legs. Congratulations, you lost 100 pounds.
I mean, there are some people that can do that. Yes.
Yeah.
That are devoted, but most people aren't devoted.
More than like personality type ones. I mean, so I don't want to say it's a tradition because I really was more mindful of it this year than other years of like reflecting on last year, what was good, being
Mhm.
thankful and grateful in that. Um, and obviously prayerfully too.
Yeah.
And then coming up with kind of some ideas for this year of like what I want to be, like a present and involved dad, with good things, right?
Yeah.
Um, being smart with a budget, being good with my business and how I run that, and seeing that grow. I'm not going to put out like specific numbers. I have goals of what I want to match,
Of
obviously.
course. Yeah.
But really just having a growth mindset in that sense. Um, and I have like some reading goals and like biblical Bible reading goals and like also books and stuff like that. And just able to grow my intelligence and my ability to critically think and think outside the box. And um, especially when it comes to subjects matter that like I'm passionate about.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah. So I did that this year, which was different than the other years. Um, but traditions for New Year's, like, you know, no, I don't stay up till midnight. I
So,
don't know if I've done that in like years.
yeah, no, I sleep through all of it because
Yeah.
whatever. Actually, no, I was up this last year looking at TikTok. I think I was actually up watching movies and then went to bed, and it was like 30 minutes till, and I'm like, whatever, it's all good. So,
And all of a sudden you hear all the fireworks go off, and you're like, oh, it must be midnight.
yeah, and that was really it. And I was like, all right, great, bedtime, we're done.
Yeah.
That's how it worked.
Hate it.
I think that honestly, I want to revisit Marriage Fitness by Mort Fertel. Really great series of books. I think there's more than one book, or there was just a single book. I read it a long time ago, and it was just phenomenal. And I feel like to be a better partner and a better like father, like I want to make sure that I'm doing all the right things.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy, dude.
it's not really a goal. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's just it's if you don't have a growth mindset every year, no matter what, you're wasting your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially if you're not honest with yourself about like how you approach things um in a realistic manner. Like, you could say like, and like I said, like being broad with your goals, like not necessarily super hyper focused unless there's like specific markers. Like I know Shane,
Mhm.
he's always like super driven and wants to do specific
He's got some
things.
crazy goals. I
His
was like,
goals are
holy
not. Yeah, his goals are
smokes.
like I'm gonna be a national champion bodybuilder, and I'm like, he set that last year, and I'm like,
Yep.
all right, cool, man. And then he did it. I'm like, all right, that was pretty crazy. Like, good for you, man.
Mhm.
So shout out Shane Needham.
Well, I mean, he wanted
But-
to open up another location,
Yeah, and he did
right?
that.
He wanted to start a.
He's trying to start. He wants to start a nonprofit too,
Yeah.
which is cool, and like write a book, which he's working on. Like, there's some pretty awesome goals that.
Dude, it's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think but that's all growth mindset too. Like that's all forward thinking and being forward leaning in the way you kind of live your life. That's healthy. Like if
Absolutely.
you're saying like I'm gonna like I don't like the whole I'm gonna stop
Could you imagine just being
goals.
like, I'm stagnant?
Well, yeah, but
This
like
is where I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
be.
stop doing this goals. Like instead, like phrase that into a positive.
Mhm.
Like if you're gonna instead of like saying I'm gonna stop eating junk food, I'm gonna have a healthy diet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quit smoking. No, I'm going to I'm gonna go 6 weeks without this behavior. Like
I'm gonna be more joyful,
yeah,
more. I'm more thankful. I mean, that's a huge one.
oh, great. Like thankfulness breeds more thankful, and it's all about
Yeah.
rewiring your brain because you start to operate in a manner where like you're thinking positively before you start hitting negative thoughts now.
Mhm.
And when you can get to that point, like, dude, your life starts.
It's phenomenal.
It's your life changes.
I
Like when
agree.
your first thought about something, and even in a negative situation, is actually what's the positive there. Like if people had that ability, the world would be a infinitely different place right now.
I call that chasing rainbows.
But it's
talked about that once, yeah.
yeah. But it's like it should be possible. Like you can, Dr. Chad Helmstetter, he's a clinical psychologist or psychiatrist, but he's written like numerous books about rewiring your brain for positive thinking, and they're amazing books. But he talks about it, and it's not hard. It only takes. He said it takes like 250 repetitions to build that habit, like to start to build
That's really
the
cool.
triggers of that habit, which is pretty cool.
Like that's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, sorry.
no, I mean, we love this stuff. This is who we are. So
Yeah.
we really enjoy this. Kind of a neat thing that I experienced Christmas Eve, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, I know it's been a couple weeks, whatever, but on Christmas Eve I was watching Fat Man.
not the Christmas movie I would think of. But
So,
yeah.
I'd never seen it, and I thought, hey, why not? Mel Gibson and angry Santa, basically with
Mhm.
guns. Cool, right?
Yeah.
That's
Okay. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
it is exactly what you expect it to be, which is perfect because that's exactly
It's
what I
like
wanted.
John Wick, but with Santa.
Yeah. So there's there's a young boy. He gets pissed off because Santa gives him the call,
Mhm.
right? So he hires a hitman to kill Santa. Yeah. Santa's out of work. Kids are being bad, so he's not hitting his quotas. So the government's not giving him any funding because the government funds him. And they go, look, you know what? You guys have a great way to make toys. Can you build other stuff? So clearly, yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's fun, and I'm like, all right, it's cool. Like it's who I am.
I'll have to
love
check it out at some point.
I like
now.
stupid movies. Okay, so my boys had just left to go to their mothers, right? It's Christmas. She wants them to wake up there on Christmas Day, and I feel like a lot of people want that.
Yeah.
Right. But looking back on my life, I mean, like, I don't remember Christmas. Do you?
I remember specific Christmas.
Like certain ones, but not a lot of them. Not all of them, right?
I don't remember like, hey, who was there on this Christmas? I don't really.
Do you remember the toys you got?
Just the big ones. Like, I mean,
Right.
I know when I
Like
got
certain
my
ones.
first really cool BMX bike.
Mhm.
Like I know the year that I got a guitar.
Okay. But that's it.
Remote control car.
That's about it, though, right?
Yeah. I
So
mean,
what's crazy though is that, like, so I look back and I go, okay, I remember the year that I got
the other reasons we talked about in our previous episode about what not to do on New Year or Christmas.
Don't propose. But and there was so much of that this year too.
I know.
Oh my gosh, it was.
We warned you, folks. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't use the word cringe, but it was cringeworthy.
I hope it works out for
yes,
everybody.
absolutely. We think fantastic. We want that to happen. But so I remember one year I got a remote control car.
Okay.
It was amazing and fast and fun, and my dad had sent it because he had remembered Christmas. And I brought it out, and 30 seconds later, it was doing 900 miles an hour and hit a curb.
Oh no!
And it busted the wheel, and I was like,
oh.
But that same Christmas, my stepdad got me a crossbow.
Okay.
A suction cup crossbow.
Like a Nerf crossbow?
No, like a real crossbow with suction cups. You could shoot things, right? It was freaking. Okay. So we took it, and it's got the bow, right?
Yeah.
And we took the string, and we went wrap. So it was much tighter.
So we go hard.
Took the suction cup off, built Lego castles, and destroyed them with a freaking crossbow.
That's awesome.
It was really cool, right?
That's
so that
awesome.
year, okay.
Yeah.
I remember the year I got my BMX bike also. I don't know if it was Christmas or a birthday, but I got a
Rio Haro, Redline, GT. Not dating ourselves now with something like going over.
I'm a Diamondback fan.
Okay.
I love Diamondbacks, but we didn't have money. So I get a Diamondback. I got a hot pink and white. This is a boy's bike, by the way, people. In the 80s, it was cool.
I know exactly
right?
The style now you're talking about.
And then it had like the spokes weren't exposed, but there was like
the louvers.
Whatever. Yeah. It was actually super cool.
I know it was like the GT type wheels. They only had the 3 spoke wheels, but they're super wide.
But it was super bomb, right? So I mean that, and then 2 other Christmases. What I remember, just off the top of my head, right?
Yeah.
My stepfather, Mark, right? We've talked about him plenty here. He was my dad. His brother came over from Italy, who was in the Air Force.
Okay.
And he brought his wife and his son, right? And I remember this distinctly because at one point in time, his son took a crap that ended up outside of the toilet on the floor, and his mom had to clean it up. I hope he doesn't watch this. Oh my God. Maybe I hope he does actually, because I'm sure he's a good person
getting called out
as it stands, right? But as a kid, he was not the nicest kid. He totally threw this giant fit because he wanted a train set, and he didn't get it. It was tucked behind the tree, and he freaked the hell out. And as a child myself, I'm like, man, you should be grateful you got anything if your mom's picking your crap up off the floor, right?
You get that in a box.
Yeah, right.
Here's your poop back.
And then and the other time, I got a Nerf golf set.
Nerf golf set, huh?
Nerf back in the day, they were like kids style.
They made everything like
they had kid style golf sets.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on the top bunk of my bed because it was just my brother and sister and I and my mom, and I had this knife, and it's like the size of the small buck knife. You got me right, the little guy, not the big one, not this big one.
Yeah.
But the smaller guy, it's like half. It's like a
Shuttle
little pocket
buck
one,
knives.
Yeah. And I'm taking it, I'm going like this, and I'm cutting it,
Oh no.
and it slips, and I go doink, and I literally in, right?
Okay.
And the blade's like this long, probably.
Yeah.
But like as a kid, it looks like it's freaking 9 feet long, and I'm like, right? And so I pull it out.
This reminded me of 2 more Christmases.
See, but the reason why we're telling the story is that unless it's tragic or crazy, you don't remember it. There's no perfect Christmas.
Yeah.
There's no anything, right? So the important part isn't about the day. It's not about waking up and going, oh my, maybe that's for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, if my kids wake up here or not, I don't care. I love when I see them,
Yeah, and I did exactly like for Christmas this year, like exactly what I said I was gonna do. I got up and like it had snowed the night before, so I went and like snowballed some people. Like Owen was gone, so it was me, and like weather sucks, and my parents didn't come up until Monday. And so yeah, it was like I'm by myself. Like I'm not gonna sit here and sulk about how boring it is being alone on Christmas Day. So like I went and snowblowed some driveways, and then like went and worked out, like hit the gym for a while, and then came back home, like made dinner, and then I picked up Owen that night, and like we had spaghetti and meatballs for Christmas dinner. It was awesome. Like I mean,
that's flipping. I had lasagna.
I know.
Lasagna, dude. It was so good. So good. Yeah. Like just I love it. But anyway, so like okay, but that's the reality, right?
Yeah.
It's totally true. Parents need to get over this, like, it's got to be perfect.
We got to we have a habit.
We romanticize everything.
Romanticize everything.
Everything, right? Like, but
like, who really had a perfect proposal?
Nobody.
I mean, very few, unless it's very thought out. And like the people that do that, where they bring in somebody to like videotape from the outside and have candles, like, and everything. It's like, like, is that real life? Like, I mean, come on. Like,
it's totally not. We know it's not.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares how you propose to somebody else.
They care that
if you throw a ring at somebody and go, look, you win.
You're not going to be lasting very long. Maybe. I don't know about that situation. I would say it would depend on your partner, because if you did that to certain people, like I could see like, nope, you lost. I'm out. Like, see you later.
At that point in time, it's got to be your sense of humor, right?
Sure.
It's totally mine. I don't know if I would ever do that.
It wouldn't be something that I wouldn't. Would it be something I do? No way.
Not at all. But like, okay, so now I remember growing up, right? So we've talked about Christmas, not a big issue, right?
Yeah.
What I remember growing up is playing frisbee at the lake, Wallowa Lake. That's where the shack happened, right?
Wallowa Lake.
Playing frisbee there, going weekends with my mom there,
Go-karts.
Horseback riding, right? They had I don't think they had ghost carts.
The go-karts were
not when I was a kid, because I was born.
Did they have
in that area.
Bumper cars that were down in that little shack where the deer hung out? Oh,
well, I was born in that area, so I mean, like things. Yeah, they had they had the big slide with the potato sacks. That's been there for freaking ever. Horseback rides, dude. My mom, we would drive from that area to the coast so often. I remember the hill coming over to Enterprise, knowing exactly where it was at, and going, okay, I know I'm home.
Yeah.
Right. Looking at the moon, the crescent moon, and being like, that's God's thumbnail. Mm-hmm. As a kid, that's what you think, right? Dude, car rides with my mom, just going nowhere, getting snacks and listening to Tears for Fears. Is that you too?
Yeah, like I can remember specific car rides. Like I'd always know I'm home when I would smell. If you've ever been to Lewiston, there's a smell.
There is a smell,
right? And I knew I was home when it smelled like a wet fart, like because Potlatch, the paper mill there.
It's so gross.
Oh, dude, it stinks.
So gross.
It stinks, and like you knew you're home. You're like, oh, we're coming back from Boise, and you could be like sound asleep, but all of a sudden you're like, oh, my sinuses are burning. I'm home.
I'm awake. God, it's so gross. But I mean, like it's those moments though. Those aren't like these romanticized amazing times. Those were just normal.
Yeah.
Life is not made in those peaks or the valleys, the lowest low or the highest high. Mm-hmm. It's the in-between moments. That's where all of your memories are made and life is really lived. I mean, that's legit what it's about.
Oh, absolutely.
As a kid, do you remember, what are your memories? I mean, like, and we're not talking like the peaks and valleys, right? What's your normal things? Like, you remember the cookie shop, right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the coolest memories I remember was like, memories I have was we were driving. I know exactly the day, time, where we were. No, it's a sports related memory, but like it's me and my dad were in the car coming back from Boise. We're outside of Grangeville, Idaho, listening to the Seattle Mariners when they won the play-in game.
Okay.
Or no, it was the game where they Uh, the double. Edgar hit the double. Giffey rounds third. He's going home. Scores that whole like I could in my head hear Dave Niehaus like screaming
Freaking out.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the radio, and like that for me, like I remember that from my childhood. I remember like certain shows we would watch as a kid, like in the office at the cookie bakery as a kid. And I can remember the smell of the bakery. Like I always could smell the butter and the eggs and the brown sugar. Like no matter what you smell, like that's like in my head.
Anytime a bakery uses real butter, it's legit.
Yeah.
That hands down.
Yeah. And I have that like seared in my memory forever. Like I can smell that and be like,
Dude,
it would
that's
take me back,
amazing.
boom, back to like 5 years old. Like
Yeah.
in the bakery. It's
totally
pretty
amazing.
cool.
But it's but those are your great memories, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that stand out, not these like elaborate, crazy, huge, whatever pieces. It's the in-between moments.
Yeah.
It's the conversations you had with your parents that were just
Steelhead fishing with my dad, like growing
Mhm.
up, like going fishing like every Saturday we were on the boat, and it was just like being able to have that time with my dad. Like for me, I soaked it up. Like I loved it, even though I would complain about being cold sometimes or
Yeah,
bored or
absolutely.
whatever. But like, yeah, I still wanted to go. Like,
Yeah.
I still went every time.
Dude, I wasn't a big fisher growing up, right? I mean, we did some fishing, but not tons of it. And I remember times where we went to, I think it was a doctor's house. I don't remember, just a family friend. We went fishing and literally cooked the fish, put the freaking stick through it, cooked it over the fire like that, ate it, everything. So it's so good, dude. It's so good that way. And as a kid, that's a memory, right?
Yeah.
Or like Dustin, my buddy Dustin,
Yeah.
right? He bought me my first real fishing pole for a birthday present. It was like 98 or something, or 97, somewhere around there. I know I was out of high school. He bought it for me. We tested, we did the thing on the neck where you like put it there and you go, yeah, and you try and feel it to make sure the rods. Oh, dude, it was brilliant. So we went out fishing quite a bit after that. Like, but I've never been a real fisher,
Yeah. So I keep hitting the microphone.
No, wait a minute.
I keep feeling my beard too because it's nice and soft.
I'm like, oh, this is great. My face feels
Because
good
you
too.
can think
Patriot. These guys right there. Patriot Men's Co. No big deal.
Yeah.
PatriotMen.com. No big deal.
Hit up our link on our Facebook page for
check it out. No, I mean, like,
all your orders.
But it's never those highs and lows. It really is all the moments that I love and cherish more than anything were those in between moments.
Oh, and there's like memories I have with my mom too of just doing stuff. I remember like one of my most endearing memories the first time I ever heard my mom cuss.
Freaking sweet. First time I cussed in front of my mom. Ready?
Yeah.
Have I told? I probably have. Yeah. So I'll say it.
Go ahead.
But
You're proud
Poison was I'm really proud of this. Poison was one of my favorite groups. Def Leppard, Poison, Bon Jovi, right? I mean, everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
But their song Unskinny Bop came out and it was like poppy and fun and whatever. And he says the word hell. And as a kid that grew up in Disney, I ain't never said the word hell before.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, yes, my moment. My mom's in the car. I'm singing along, rocking out. And then I sing the part hell and I'm like, nothing. No. That was the moment. That was freedom. I was free.
So I'll sell my mom out here. We were in the car on the way to school. It was like, I don't know, probably 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Driving to school one morning. It had snowed, and a snowplow had gone by and had laid like that. Normally they would have they must not have had the blade turned enough to where it's pushing everything out to the shoulder. So it was like hitting slush into the oncoming lane, and we're driving, and slush went across the windshield, and like she totally couldn't see for like 50 feet or whatever. And she's like, oh, and said, shit.
Nice.
And
that was
like,
the S word.
I was like, oh, you, and she goes, no, I said shoot. And I'm like, no, you did not. Like,
I'm telling Dad.
Argued like all the way to school. I'm like, Mom, it's okay. You're human. Like, I was like, now I know that you're not like a robot. Like, you're actually a person because you cussed. Like, I don't know. I didn't care. Like,
dude, no, that's the best thing though, is learning your parents are real. You're like, oh, you're not perfect.
Yeah.
That's like the most beneficial thing you do for your kids.
Oh, absolutely.
And it doesn't mean swearing all the time for your kids. Just making a mistake and being like, oh, I totally screwed up. Or like, doing something dumb. Kids need to know that we're just human.
When kids always have a weird way of offering, like extending grace too. I mean, like they have short memories about stuff as well.
They're so good at that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So I got to get one thing.
Do it.
Okay. So do you want me to talk about the other thing, or do you want me to talk about what's on the screen?
Whatever you want. You do. I mean, go for it.
Okay. So I have like a beef right now with kind of where we are as a society. I think social media has ruined people and the ability to have a normal life without like taking offense to absolutely everything or injecting like venom or like they have like we lost the ability to have like reasonable candor back and forth with people without being jerks. Is it a COVID thing or is it a social media thing? Because like I've noticed it more in the last 2 years than I've ever seen it in my entire life.
I think so. I'm going to say it's social media. There are, well,
I think it's a
okay.
division thing too. I really
It's
do.
both.
But
So social media, right, is part of it, but then you've also got this pandering to everybody thing, right? So the more we pander and the more we helicopter parent our kids, the more free our kids feel and are to say things to somebody else and go, my mom's got my back, my dad's got my back, no big
yeah.
deal, right? Or you can't do anything because I can get away with it. You can't punish
What,
me.
what are you gonna do? Come through the screen and punch me in the face?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna send your dad, right? Nobody does anymore. So people are non-confrontational, but when they're in a setting where they can say whatever the hell they want, now they can be whatever.
And I see it like obviously in social media, but I mean like I'm running into it in person now, just people being nasty to each other at the store.
Oh,
Like
dude.
this poor clerk at Super One was just like being read the riot act by some lady that I'll, I'll just assume she's off her medication or something. Like I hate going that route.
That's
Like,
a nice way to say it.
but like was mad at this girl because they didn't have certain produce in because just so happens that like we've had a snowstorm and there's been significant snowstorms and 7 feet of snow on mountain passes that haven't allowed produce to make it to this side of the mountains in a
And
certain time
multiple
frame.
trucker strikes.
Yeah, and trucker strikes and everything else, and so it's like it's a perfect storm. It's just like, dude, have some grace for this person, and like it's not her fault you didn't get what you wanted. Like,
Yeah.
and so like is we have like a society now of people that are throwing temper tantrums like crazy because they don't get their way of like
They're all spoiled.
they should want everything and they should want it right stinking now. And then we get mad about stupid things that are trivial that don't matter. Like, I mean, I help run a Facebook, very large Facebook group, and like
Mhm.
the comment section there and people how they treat each other is just like it's disgusting.
I think it's because partly or partially that we don't talk to our neighbors anymore. Do you know
No,
your
we're
neighbors?
meant to look at them on their face first to see if they have a mask on or not.
Yeah.
And then we judge them based on are they prescribing to the same fear porn that I'm prescribing to? And if they're not, then I can treat them differently. Like seriously, that's how we're viewing each other these days. It's gross.
Remember back in the day, like you would live in a cul-de-sac, right? And you knew all the kids in the cul-de-sac of the block, and the parents knew everybody. And if there was one, there was usually like one person they were like, oh no, because the guy was a schmuck or whatever,
Yeah.
right? I could tell you the guy's name in my cul-de-sac I'm thinking of, but
Oh, we had one too.
yeah, I think we all had one, right? So, but I mean, like really, people were kinder. They saw the neighbor and chatted for a second. They had a moment, and then social media came and we stopped. And I mean, like really, you go outside. We have people that walk my neighborhood now, and they wave every once in a while. They say hi. I chatted with my neighbor across the street because of snow blowing.
So this is going to lead into my next thing. But go ahead, continue.
It's crazy to me. I don't understand it either.
So there's the movie I talked about, Ron's Gone Wrong.
Was good. I enjoyed it.
You watched it?
Totally watched it.
But that's just part of the premise, right? Where all the kids all of a sudden forget about each other and start focusing so much on like what they put into their robot and their own space. And now we have Meta, which is out there, and like now you can live in the metaverse and interact with people virtually instead of actually interacting with people like we're supposed to do.
Okay, so I have VR.
Okay.
I enjoy the VR.
Okay.
Do I play very often? No. Does my son do it? Yeah, he does.
Do you go to the Meta board meetings or like the Meta hangouts and just like
not at all? No, that's stupid to me. But there's like, so my son does VR chat, right? And he hops on, he met like 82 people in one day on VR chat in like an hour. I'm like, what? How is that possible?
There's sexual harassment now taking
place. I did see that happen.
Sorry.
And the dude was all up in the girl's business and she's all, get off me.
I'm sorry. It's not stupid. Okay, but it's so stupid because like people are still jackwagons no matter if they're on virtual or if they're in real person. And like it's you think that you create this alternate universe, you're gonna be devoid of the scourge of human existence. Mm-hmm. Nope. They're gonna follow you there too.
So there's a show called Westworld. There was a book also.
Yeah.
And people go in to this place where they can just do whatever they want. Kill android things, whatever, they look human. Society will do given the chance, I feel like people will do what they can get away with.
We see it in and not to go on the soapbox, but like in all the cities that have gotten rid of police and like loosen their
And it's
reins,
gotten all worse.
Yeah, they're getting surprise! Without rules, life gets worse.
Wait, in
Like,
San Francisco, you can
shocked.
steal like $600 worth of crap, and so people just walk in and steal everything.
Yeah,
and
but
then
the
leave.
federal government now expects you to report that on your taxes.
I saw that on the IRS website. I saw if you sell cocaine, whatever profits you're making from the cocaine, you better put it on your taxes. That's
Uncle
a big
Sam
deal.
wants your cut. Wants the cut.
Holy smokes, man.
But no, so like this with Meta, right? We talk about metaverse and all this stuff. Are the Simpsons creators and writers the Illuminati?
Maybe they hang out with them for a little bit. Okay, so no, I wouldn't say Illuminati because I would say they for the most part have very, very well guessed a lot of future events.
They have.
In a very, very questionable way. Because you're like, is that?
Because there was a Simpsons episode that I recently saw. It came out in 2011. Had an alternate universe, VR universe like Meta. And it was like Lisa was the mom, like yelling at her kid to get off of the VR. And it was like,
So the question
holy
is
cow,
this.
okay, like
When did Lawnmower Man come out? Because that was all primed and around
yeah.
virtual reality, right? So because these concepts have been around forever. The concepts have been around forever. Like think about the watches. It
was in the 80s. I mean, like
Knight Rider they weren't the people that said, oh, hey, we're going to have a phone watch. Dick Tracy back in the 50s, he had a watch he could talk to, right?
I mean, James Bond in the 60s. I mean, yeah.
So, I mean, the reality is, man, my Italian's coming out. You see my hands going.
I'm doing it too.
I feel like Ron Burgundy. What do I?
You know,
Where do I?
No, that's not Ron Burgundy. You're thinking of Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights. Ricky Bobby.
Oh,
What do I?
my hands.
We don't know what to do with them. It's tough because you don't know. But I mean, like, it's totally true though. There's been so much depiction, and I mean, so The Simpsons and Trump, of course. The weirder part was
that one's not quite as close, but it's still fairly close.
This is why I think it's really, really close, is because they did the escalator scene and had everybody in the right order.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That was it. I mean, that's impressive, right? So I'm not going to feed into it because clearly, I mean, you know, he talked about becoming president or
in the 80s.
Possibly in the 80s in the Oprah show. That came out in 2000.
Yeah.
You want to play in a reality because it makes a better show. Clearly.
Well, and you got to be on the side of ridiculous, and usually the ridiculous tends to mimic real life.
Well, ridiculous ends up happening, which is
you talk like about like professional crazy person Alex Jones. Like the dude's right half the time. I mean, I can't stand the guy, but like half the time he comes out with crap, and you're like, yeah, that's just nuts. And it's like, oh, guess what? There might be aliens. Like what?
Yeah. There's no truth to that. And 7 months later, you're like, holy what? Now it's like, I had it on the paper. And he's all freaking out. I like him. I like that he just wigs out about everything. He seems so angry all the time.
That's what I don't care for.
And you're like,
I'm like, I can't listen to you.
I love him on Joe Rogan because Joe's like, no, really, tell me what's going on.
Joe antagonizes him too. Yeah. It's like he totally doesn't like push his buttons.
Alex is like yelling, rah, rah, rah. And Joe's like, no, really, tell me more about. What do you mean this happened? It's okay. I'm calm. Alex, calm down. And Alex is like, I got a drink. Somebody give me some alcohol. Joe's like, give him some hard stuff. He'll give him hard stuff. It's okay. No, I'm not trying to drink. Dude, freaking, it's so hilarious. Their dynamic
he totally tries to.
Dynamic is great. Oh, it's so funny, dude. So funny. Okay, so we should probably get to our topic.
Sure.
Maybe talk about something that actually matters. Although this kind of, I mean, the whole thing really
things matter. I think this is actually connected to something we were previously talking about.
So there's a lot of fathers out there, right?
Yeah.
And we touched on it earlier, of course, but fathers and stepfathers that are becoming new fathers.
Yep.
Right? Stepfathers walking into a role where they become a parent now because they're dating a single mom that has her crap together. Sort of. Maybe.
Or does.
Hopefully.
Or doesn't.
Who knows, right? We don't know the situation. we whatever. So they step into it, right? And all these dads on all these forums are like, hey, I'm going to be a dad. Give me advice.
What do I need to know?
Right.
You know nothing. Like, guess what? Most of us are winging it too. Like, congratulations.
Sweet. But there's only one thing you really have to know.
Be present and love, man.
Love.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. It's like the easiest thing to give and the hardest thing to do, because you have to be humble and push your pride to the side.
Well, I mean, that's one biblical concept.
But
I
it's
mean,
tough.
It's the greatest command of all. But like, I mean, love the Lord God with all your own soul, heart, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Like you're loving somebody else's kid too, right? What does that look like? What does love look like as a new dad? Like,
and remember that pride is the greatest sin also, and the only reason why is because pride leads to unforgiveness
and separation.
Yeah, and it's awful, right? So things fall apart with children when we start doing "I deserve," "what about me," and other statements, right?
Yeah.
As a parent, we've had all of our lifetime.
We don't
to "what about me?" We don't deserve anything.
Deserve
really.
anything.
Yeah.
I'm not deserving of anything.
And really, like we talked about the joy of Christmas on our last episode, right?
Yeah.
We talked about how the joy is in the giving.
Yeah.
It's the same way we were made to give.
Oh, absolutely.
When we are humble enough and give to our kids, we feel better.
Or give
we
to our
other people.
partner. Like, how awesome is a relationship when both partners are like trying to outgive each other?
Oh, dude, it's sweet. Imagine how
ridiculous.
So many people complain about the bedroom.
Yeah.
Imagine if they took that philosophy to the bedroom.
Well, that's biblical though.
Well, you should be, right? And women shouldn't be withholding it, and men shouldn't be withholding it. It should be, let's get in here. I'm gonna outperform you.
Song of Solomon.
That's a whole. My buddy once got in trouble for reading the Song of Solomon.
That's some deep stuff.
Yes, I
Very
understand.
White reading the Song of Solomon.
And I understand.
Hey, girl.
But like,
your breasts are like fawns. Your neck is like a tower.
Now would it be on your tower? No, I mean, no, that's not. But it is. It's
your
his
belly button's like a bowl.
Let me drink from it. Your cup runneth over. Oh, is that lint? Gross.
Don't be a menace to South Central drinking. Like the first thing that popped into my head.
I love that movie. Mm-hmm.
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. Yep. That's such a quality flick. My son Dylan loves watching that. He flipping loves watching.
It's ridiculous.
So good, dude. All right, so
anyways.
let's ring it in. We got to get real. I'm sorry. We're serious.
Bring out the 12-year-old in me. It's all right.
No,
actually,
it's so much fun.
14.
We got to release somehow, you know. But okay. I wanted to help everybody, right? We need to help everybody with this. So let's kind of help them. Let's help people figure this out, right? So if you're a stepfather, you're coming into a home with children, and it could be children from a broken home.
Yeah.
First of all, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
You're going to get buttons pushed.
It's going to be okay.
They're going to push the boundaries. They're going to try to push you. They're going to see how far they can take it before you leave.
Yeah, before you break. Well, because if the child's coming from a broken home and they feel like their father's left them, or they were forgotten by their parent or whatever, that kid's going to push you to see if you're going to do the same thing, because that's what they're expecting. And it's all kind of part of like self-fulfilling prophecy.
You're just going to leave me too. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what they believe. They go, well, this person left, so you're going to leave too. And they're unintentionally going to make that happen by how much they push you.
And kids are deserving of love even when they don't show it in return.
And the big one,
hardest part. Like you got to get over pride. We talk about it. That's where you get over
absolutely.
it.
But I mean, when a child when they act out like that, typically they're acting from a heartbreak scenario.
Mm-hmm. It's strong.
And you've got to fill that gap. You've got to get past the heartbreak and understand that this isn't personal. We need to get past this, right?
I don't want you here. No, you keep showing up. Right? Like, just leave me alone, and you come back.
And right? And we got to remember, we're not replacing the other parent. That's not the goal. We're adding, right? So first of all, if they're little, right, we're going to say, let's say like Owen's age, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a good starting point, because teenagers are a totally different story, but little kids for the most part.
Yeah.
Get down to the level. Any kid, any person, when you and I talk, we like to be at the same level.
I think this applies to both men and women. Like, you could be a single dad with a female in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
These are all applicable, reversing the roles.
Absolutely. Oh, 100%. And this is both. I mean, it should apply both ways.
We're speaking from the dad role because obviously we're dads.
And that's, we don't have a mom role inside of us, even though we've played that role.
Yeah.
And we do. But, first step as a step parent coming in, or even as a dad, you can still do this as the biological father. Gosh, my brain's not working. First thing you first is tell them you're there to love their mom.
Yeah.
That's a kid needs to know that. The kid needs to go, hey, I'm not here to replace your father. I'm here to love your mom.
That's powerful.
Cool,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
the kid wants to know, hey, where do you stand? I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's like trying to date someone and going to their father and going, look, this is my purpose. I want you to know I'm here
That's
for
a mission
honorable
statement.
reasons.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very simple one. I'm here to love your mom. And then as a instance you are from your mom, guess what? I mean, newsflash, I get to love you too.
Yeah. And they might not be ready for that. So
Yeah,
I don't
and
know if
that's
you'd say that
fine.
right
I
away,
mean,
but yeah.
but yeah,
But
I mean,
then you give them the purpose statement, right?
yeah.
Hey, I'm here to give love. I'm here to support your mom and respect her also. Because you don't know.
Yeah, I'm not here to be the second voice of discipline.
Yeah, or what happened in the relationship? Did the child see the mom get abused by the real dad?
Yeah.
And the whole respect piece is going to go, oh, maybe he's different. That's a big deal, right?
If you're gonna say you're different, be different.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not there to replace the father, but you plan on being there to help, right?
Yeah, you're there to lift that parent up and reinforce what they've instilled.
Mm-hmm. And then even for the kid, you're there to listen and to be available and be present, right?
and
when they're ready.
And we talk about this as a dad role, but like, I mean, if you've become the stepfather and that's your role now is entering the household, like men are designed to be the leader of the household too. And so you're like, hey, I'm here to love your mom, love you. I'm here to lead us, right? This is a team. I'm here to lead us. I'm not here to boss you around.
Yeah.
My job isn't to be here to be the fun police, to take away all your freedoms and make sure keep you in check and keep you in line. No, my job is to reinforce what your mom's already done a great job of. I'm here to just keep that going.
Yeah.
And I'm here to be that voice of like, this is the direction we're going to be in a household. I'm going to make sure that we're keeping that up. Like that's the goal.
And it can be fun, but
yeah,
this is where we're at, right? Dude, why don't you take this one? Because I think we both really agree on this stuff, right?
So this one, be consistent. Don't be wishy-washy and discussing with your partner about where the line is. You need to set the ground rules and tell the kids what they are. Like you have to kind of set the expectation up front.
The kid has to know where the line is, right? I mean,
and stand on it. Like you have to make sure that there's a boundary. There's comfort in the boundaries. Kids need boundaries.
Yeah.
But then you have to reinforce the boundary.
It's tough, dude, because like, I mean, nobody wants to be the heavy.
No.
Nobody. And if you want to be the heavy, check yourself or come have a conversation with me first.
Yeah. I mean, and it's, reinforcing the boundary. I'm not saying like, hey, beat the snot out of your kids and so they follow, but
I mean, they have to know that, hey, if I step across this bound or this line, there's a responsibility that you have to act. Now you've done this. Now I have to do this. Like when I spanked Dylan, I said, look, man, you went on your walkabout. You went to freaking the place. You had a sword fight inside of a dollar store and you had some comics, right? He was young. And I was like, that you're not supposed to do this. You cross the boundary. I have to spank you.
Yeah.
And let him understand it. Now, I'm not saying spank your stepkids or whatever, right? You need to know your place and how you're supposed to parent with their parent.
And if the parent wants you to be involved in the discipline role, it has to be, I think that's where
a discussion needs to happen first.
Yeah, exactly. Like
you have to know
that parent needs to be there with the other parent and the kids, and they all talk about like, here's what it's going to be from now on.
Yep.
And so, we're together. He's an extension of me. I am an extension of her. What she says or what I say goes. Like we're on the same team. We're going the same direction. So yeah, you could get disciplined by me too. Sorry, but like that's because I love you, right?
Yeah.
And discipline is a form of love. It really is.
The big one is that the mother should never make the father figure the heavy. It's got to be equal.
Yeah.
It has to be equal because you can't take the father and turn him into this discipline piece only and go, when your dad gets home.
Wait till your dad gets home. Yeah. It's like, oh, so I have to be afraid of my dad every time he gets
home.
But
not my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't create a loving relationship. It doesn't just, it harbors this negativity. So yeah, it's awful. And then when you're disciplining, don't react in anger, dude. Like ever, right?
If you're ever mad, wait. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. Just wait.
When Dylan had his walkabout and the police brought him back, I feel like an awful parent. I'm a real person, okay? I'm not perfect.
Kids are knuckleheads.
Kids do dumb crap.
Yeah.
When they brought him back, I said, Dylan, I need you to go to your room. I'm too upset right now to handle this. And I think it really like moved him because, and I got to step away and go, okay, I got to relax because I was pissed and scared and everything you are, you know, because I didn't know.
You know,
It's like the worst moment ever.
I think about all the times like, you know, our parents' generation where they were told to go cut their own switch.
Freaking jeez.
You know, there's the mental warfare that's involved with that. But also, too, you know, your kid's going to take for absolutely ever to go cut that switch that they're going to get whooped with.
And hopefully they do take
They hope you forget while they're looking and then they never actually get the punishment.
I think I don't know.
But also it's built there, I think, to let the parents calm down.
Yeah. And it should
go cut your own switch. I don't even want to look right now.
Could you imagine me like go on and go do it like right now in the city kid and they're like,
what's a switch?
What am I supposed to do with this?
He's cutting off light switches out of his room.
Here's the plate.
You're going to hit me with this?
No, you're going to eat it. Yeah, there you go. You're going to eat it. But I mean, yeah, so you need to calm down and consider the root of everything, right? And that's really what it is. Kids are dumb. Don't expect your kids to be mature enough to do the right thing.
Your kids are going to overreact. Guess what? So are you too, as a parent, probably. So, like, cooler heads prevail when you kind of give yourself some time or just go quiet. Like, instead of blowing up and screaming at your kid, sometimes it just takes, like, sitting there and you say sternly but calmly, you need to be quiet right now.
You know how much scarier that is? That's freaking scary as crap.
I have to do it sometimes. I'm just like, you've got to be quiet right now. And it's almost like you're going to court. Anything you can say can and will be used against you. Yeah, like, shh. That's your sign. Shut up.
Don't be the parent that gets crazy and disciplines and then calms down and then brings it back up 5 minutes later and you're still pissed off about it. Yeah. No, handle it one time and that's it. Let it be. Every time I discipline my kids, it was, look, we did this. This happened. Now we move forward. And always move forward.
2 swats.
Yep. I was like, I never did more than 2 because
1 seems like anger. 2 is reinforcement. 3 is too many.
And you're allowed 3 swats. 3 swats legally is what they say. But I'm like, it all depends on how much the point gets across, right? So, I mean, after Dylan's walkabout, I had to spank him and I gave him a hug and we cried together because I don't like spanking my kids.
Well, and you probably were freaked out.
I was really afraid of that. Yeah. I mean, I'll hug him now and I want to cry because I love my dudes. But, and my daughter, like, oh my gosh. Anyway, I don't want to digress in that. It's that.
No, let's not. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's get there.
Let's get Tristan crying again.
I will not be a puddle on camera.
What episode?
Oh, we should work on Ryan.
I already cried once. You got
I'm not a camera.
I'm gonna cry.
We're gonna ugly cry together.
Let's talk about Mark. Come on, bring that back up. Let's
ugly cry together.
Let's rip off that Band-Aid.
But anyway, so like, yeah, no, don't be the parent that just keeps like being a chainsaw. Where you go and then you calm down. And they go like, don't bring it up again. Move forward so the child keeps respecting you, and you give it enough.
This is gonna be on a future episode about leadership in the household too, because that's a great point. And I say it a lot too, is like when everything looks like when you're a hammer and everything starts to look like a nail.
Yeah.
And
it's not effective.
No, it's not. Because like you don't want to, like, your only punishment for the kids is like, I'm gonna yell and scream. They're gonna understand it. No, because then you're just a screamer.
Yeah. It doesn't work at all.
And then if my only punishment's to spank, well then you're just a hitter, right? If you're and then my only punishment's to throw them in timeout, then you're nothing, right?
Punish your kid by making him eat whatever he hates. Eat that. What? Yeah, mofo. Freaking eat it.
Could you lick the white dog crap? No, don't do that. It's a Step Brothers reference, by the way.
Great. That's totally great. Want to build bunk beds? That's great. Sorry. So, but and back to this. So, kids, they're not going to accept you immediately. You're going to want to come in and love their mother, and you're going to go, man, I've got everything I want to give to these kids too. And they're going to push back. And you're going to go, damn it, why are they pushing back? So I just want to be happy with them.
Here's the other part too, is don't be all Disneyland all the time.
Yeah, no.
You don't want to step in and just be like, you don't want to be in Mrs. Doubtfire. What's the Pierce Brosnan's character? Where he's just like,
I forgot his name, but yeah.
Yeah.
But he's fun all the time.
He's fun all the time. We're going to do all these fancy things and eat fancy dinners all the time. Because that's what I bring to the table. I'm just the fun guy. Because what happens when like life has to be real and you have to be disciplined,
Yeah.
and then like all of a sudden you're not the fun guy. Like what happened to fun guy?
Done.
Like fun guy's gone. Fun guy got married. Like no, you. I mean, like then your kids feel betrayed.
And the big thing is that fun guy doesn't look for the boundaries. He doesn't look for prior traumas or even ask about it. He doesn't care. Well, because he's fun guy. Because it doesn't matter.
He can't function in real life because he can't find the good in the like normal situations. Not everything in life is always a carnival.
When yeah, I mean, it's totally true. One of the big things that I did with my kids is that, and my daughter, because we didn't always have a great relationship. I told you that story, right? Yeah. There were times when I recognized as a parent that, man, maybe I was oversharing or whatever. And when she would lash out at me about whatever, I'd go, you know what? I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. I've been there. Maybe I overshared. Maybe, I mean, you shouldn't know about my bills. That's my burden. You should know about this. You shouldn't know about my stresses. That's my burden. And you're just a kid. You don't have to deal with that. And so on my bad, I mean, I've apologized for that. And, you know, I shouldn't have, right? We shouldn't overshare. But if the child is lashing out, expect the challenges and reaffirm that you're there to love their mother and them when they're ready, right?
You're not.
And if they're ready, they might cry and be like, I'm ready.
Yeah. And you're not there to hate the other parent. No matter how bad like mom makes that person sound, like
you're not there to get a shotgun.
You are not allowed to have an opinion on that person.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like they had the kids in that relationship. You weren't there when they were born. But here's the great part is you chose to enter into the picture with where they are now.
And you weren't there during the relationship. You don't know what the truth is. You get one side.
And you know, so it's like, if one's, and I mean, maybe I'll be guilty of this. I don't know. Like if you have an issue with your ex, like, you know, your new partner can hear about it, I guess, but at
you
the
can
same
vent.
time, you can vent, but it's like, hey, I don't want you to take that with you.
Everything's taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Unless you get both sides at the same time. And actually, even that's wrong because that's one perspective.
Unless there's
and
egregious behavior,
right?
Obviously, then yeah, you can, when you know your kid well enough, your new kids well enough, like maybe there was abuse taking place or something like that, whatever. Yeah, you can have an opinion when you start finding out that fact, and you're another parent in that picture. You know, so like don't take your internal feelings and reflect it on the kid too. That's just healthy. I mean, like being healthy is not doing that, I should say.
Yeah. You know what we're saying.
Yeah.
Flip it. Yeah, that's
got to be your bowl.
Exactly, yeah. But big one again. I mean, and I always want to reaffirm this because a lot of new parents and a lot of parents forget it. These are children. No matter how mature they act. I say it again. No matter how mature they act for their age, they lack the wisdom of age.
Yep.
They don't know any better, man. At 16, we all think we're geniuses. And at 18, we're like, oh, I know what's going on in life. I know what the world's about. And we were retarded. Can I say? Whatever, you know what I'm saying.
I'm not a huge fan of that word, but that's
I don't know how else to say it because it is.
No,
we were ignorant. We're ignorant. Ignorant is what we were.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I think that in the last, like as a step parent coming in to a family, it's like not easy, right? I mean, we know that role is going to be difficult if we're thrust into that position. And as a partner, if you're with somebody that's coming into that role, you have to be empathetic. To your partner, knowing that this is new ground for them. Like it's tough. Like that's a risk. That person's willing to jump into my life, not just my life, but the life of my children. Like one, it gives me a huge amount of respect for that person that they're willing to be there. Cause like, it's like, that's risky. Like you didn't have to be there, but like, they want to be there. Like that's,
this is with the relationship part.
Yeah.
And where they're willing to step into that role and not just the booty call role.
Yeah. Reward them with like, if they want to step into the role, well,
pirates booty hard.
Sure.
Popcorn.
But yeah,
popcorn's
yes
good.
And no, but I mean, and the same, but I mean, reward them in the role of the parent. Like if they want to be a parent, like let them take the mantle to be a parent.
Yeah.
Like if you've got if you're with a guy that like loves his kids and like wants you to be a role and be involved in the kid's life, like take honor in that he's willing to share his kids. And if he's not doing it in a healthy manner, not pushing the responsibilities of all motherhood now as yours.
And be aware because there are some people coming into relationships that want to abuse your kids also. So properly vet them, beyond your fluffy farty, he's great in bed or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
No. Oh, he's had 2 DUIs, but that was just a rough week for him.
Freaking jeez. It's so true though. Holy, it goes both ways though, men and women.
Yeah,
so
it
let's be real.
You gotta vet women
Not just
too.
dudes. You gotta vet them all. Yeah.
And so, but like, no, when that person shows up and wants to be involved in the kid's life, like, you've got to reward that, and it takes some risk as a parent to let them do that too.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it starts small with this, like, letting them go to lunch together, or go to the mall, or go to the store and just like start spending their own individual time together, because they're bonding too. Like, there's a courtship there taking place as well.
One of the best things Mark ever did for me, there was 2 things, right? Maybe 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. He taught me how to do martial arts first. Like he was the kind of the instigator of all that, because I loved it and he had learned some. So he was like, well, let me teach you what I know. Right. Beautiful. Number 2,
but that's a big part of his life. He let you into his world. Like, there's a lot beyond just like martial arts.
Number 2, he had bodybuilding, of course, he's the guy that started me in the whole thing. But number 2, he had this like Toyota B2200, old school,
Mazda?
Whatever. No, well, maybe it was.
Mazda
I think it was a Toyota though. I don't know. It was the same kind of. They all look the same back then.
The Mazda,
right?
Nissan, Toyota are all the same truck.
And I had this Smurf that was this big. And we went to the parking lot, and we peeled out on the Smurf and this thing up. And it was the most fun and cool. I was like, "What people? You're an adult and we're doing this." It was so freaking entertaining, dude. So entertaining. Just freaking great, right? I mean,
it's like we talk about red flags all the time on the show, and you got to look for the green flags though. Like, when you're with somebody and you see them, like, that they have a activity or something that they love doing, or something that they do on like their own personal time, and they start sharing that with your kids.
Yep.
Like, that's a green light, man. That's awesome stuff.
When you involve the kids in that, it's super good.
Because that shows that person is invested. That's not just like they're there to hold a place. Like, they're there to they're like, no, that's kind of them in a way saying like, no, I'm in. Here's me showing you that I'm in. Is it like something that was so personal in mine? Like, come join me in this. Like, grabbing the kid's hand and like bringing them into that situation.
Man,
obviously not if their pastime is drinking.
When he started working out with me, dude, because that was his world. He was a buff mofo. Like, he was a big boy. Like, it's crazy because I still, when I work out, I still hear him yelling at me, "You dog, get it?"
Breathe,
going for it. And I'm like, "Oh, dude,
you're not breathing."
But, like, that was his world. That was his world. And I was like, it's an honor to be brought in. It just feels good,
No, and I think that's gonna lend itself into our next episode too, because there's some things like what not to do. I mean, I'd like to say like what to do in a put a positive spin on everything, but there's certainly some things not to do or things to look for.
Oh, there's lots of things, yeah.
But
we really wanted to give kind of that advice though to the new parents that are like, what do I do? Act with love.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the first thing. Know your kids are going to challenge you, expect it. And remember you were their age, and remember how you were at that age.
And remember that too, you are an infant in the parent role too. If you don't have kids of your own, or you've never been around those kids for a long period of time, you could have your own kids too and still be new at parenting those kids.
Absolutely.
You've got to give yourself credit. There's going to be stumbling, just like any growing up that kids do. Your relationship with those kids is going to grow up too. You're going to have your parts where it's super lovey-dovey, and then you're going to have the parts where the terrible twos hit and they're screaming in your face and mad at you. Take honor with that too, because that means that there's actually like they see you staying long enough that they have taken the right to get mad at you. So
sort of. It
to
sucks,
an extent, but
it still sucks though.
It's like, oh, they love me enough to get mad at me. Like, you're not fair. Well, okay, I guess that when you're like, you're not fair.
You're like, I'm doing it right.
Yeah, you've arrived.
Yeah, it's okay then. It's totally okay. So, like, there's no perfect guide. There's only one absolute, and it's that life happens.
Yeah,
that's the one constant, right? Children want you to be present, even when they're upset.
Yep.
How many 80s and 90s movies were there about families where the daughter, like Uncle Buck?
Yep.
That daughter was, she needed smacked. And Roach, or whatever his name?
Bug,
freaking Bug. He was the kid from The Boy Who Could Fly.
Yeah.
I liked him so much, and then I saw him as Bug, and I'm like, you mother effer. But
this axe is so sharp I could circumcise a gnat.
Yeah, but
Gnat? Bug? Sorry.
No,
I love Uncle Bug.
The movie's brilliant, right?
One of my favorite
But
all-time
remember
favorites.
that girl, she wanted to be pushed, and she wanted to know she was valued because the parents were like, "Oh, okay, I'm hands off. Never
she
mind."
found the boundaries, and then she was like embraced Uncle Buck for setting boundaries
and loved it.
Yeah, I love that. I gotta watch that movie.
I know, I need to watch for sure, right? So big ones. Set the freaking phone down. We don't have our phones. They're not. We don't, right? Pause your freaking show when your kid shows up and be present. Don't just be there.
And sometimes it's like if you're working or whatever, and the kid comes in the room, instead of telling them that they're interrupting something. Sometimes life can wait, right? Sometimes
work can wait.
Sometimes work can wait. And if your kid wants to, and it depends on the age, obviously, if they want to come in and sit on your lap and see what you're doing,
yep,
let them. Like
every day after school, my kids come in. If I'm on the phone or I'm busy, they just wrap an arm around me, give me a hug. Every day. That's how it should be.
They don't start yelling at you.
No. Sometimes they have questions. Freaking Christian yesterday. Let's just go here real fast, people. Oh crap, I forgot. And oh my bad.
You said you forgave him, didn't you?
No.
Oh, and you're bringing it up again.
I'm on a call with my boss, and we're having a good conversation. Christian calls me twice back to back.
Ooh.
And I go, dude, what's going on? I work, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, the teacher took my hat. Can you show up after school to get my hat from the office?
Guess who just got a new hat?
And I'm like, okay, so his girlfriend bought it for him for Christmas, so it's really special to him, right?
Okay.
And I get it. But I'm like, what? You back to back over a hat? Calm the hell down. Calm down. So kids will be stupid,
Check
right?
yourself.
It's going to happen. And tomorrow I need to go get his freaking hat.
Reminder. Just reminded yourself.
Totally.
Congratulations.
Yes, please. So I can set a reminder.
Oh, yeah. And guess what? You're going to forget stuff, and it's okay. Life will go on.
You're going to forget your kid. There's been times where I'm supposed to pick him up from work, and I'm like,
well, your kids luckily are old enough. Like,
and then
somebody
somebody
getting like a 6-year-old, you got some problems. But
yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. But dude, yeah, there's moments. You're going to have moments.
They're like 15 and walking home. They'll be all right. Like,
yeah, it just, try not to forget your kids, especially on the roof of your car. I've never done that. I'm just saying, don't. Some parents do.
I'm like, okay.
Have parents done that? Or even in the back of the car.
Gosh,
how do you put a baby in the back seat and forget it?
No, I know that. Yeah, well, that's happened in the summer, and it's
how
tragic.
is that even possible that you forget it?
Yeah, I don't.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's tragic.
Are we digressing?
Yeah, yes, we are, because we were kind of having a nice landing spot, and all of a sudden we're like went morbid for a second.
My bad. I'm sorry.
It's all good. So
I guess for this episode, though.
Yeah, was this episode 4 of the new
season? I think it's episode 4 of the new season. We didn't really do our commercial for Patreon because we were using it.
Yeah,
I do. How's my forehead looking though? I mean,
looks great.
Less wrinkles. Yeah. I've been putting on my forehead. I mean, like I really swear I'm getting less wrinkles. Yeah. You look smooth, man. You look like you're so young.
Got a glow. I'm 37 and I'm young.
Know.
It says the guy that has to squint to read the screen.
Look at this. I look like a penis. It's freaking crazy. Things you notice when you're on camera. I should totally. Now I feel like I've got a fat
Tristan
chin.
the phallic organ. Dude.
Don't call him a Richard anymore. Call him a Tristan.
Oh, no.
Let's not start that. People are going to screw with me now. I know it totally. Anyway, I think for Dadvocacy.
Yeah, I'm Ryan.
I'm Tristan, and this is episode 4.
Season 2, episode 4. Thanks for joining us.
Is that right?
Sure.